The disappearance. The classroom was quiet, filled with the soft hum of machines and the gentle tapping of fingers on learning screens. It was just another day in New Eden Station, one of Earth's most peaceful colonies. Children laughed, played, and studied, unaware that their world was about to change forever. A red light began flashing near the school security door. It wasn't an alarm yet. The teachers ignored it, thinking it was a maintenance error. But the station security officer, Mark, noticed something strange. The cameras were going dark one by one. He tapped his earpiece. "Control, we're losing feeds." "What's happening?" There was no reply. Outside the school, black ships with no markings appeared silently. They hovered just above the ground, almost like shadows. From them came tall, armored figures with glowing eyes and strange rifles. They didn't speak. They didn't warn. They moved like machines with a clear order: take the children. By the time the station's emergency signal was activated, it was too late. 20-7 human children were gone. Not a single adult could stop them. The Empire had used a rare technology, one that froze human systems and blocked communication with Earth for 10 whole minutes. That was all the time they needed. When the comms came back, Mark sent a desperate message to Earth. At Earth's Global Defense Command, Commander Ray sat at the edge of his seat. He replayed the footage of the invasion again and again. He saw the children being dragged, stunned, or carried away like property. His jaw tightened. Why children? One of the generals asked in disbelief. Ray didn't answer. He stood, stared at the screen, and spoke only 4 words: "Send in the hammer." The room fell silent. Everyone knew what that meant. Earth had built a special force over the past decade, a fleet of ships and warriors designed not for peacekeeping, but for Retribution. Their existence had been kept secret, used only once before when a colony had been wiped out. This wasn't a diplomatic problem now. This was war. Meanwhile, in deep space, the children were locked in strange rooms with alien walls. Some were scared. Some cried. One boy named Leo, only 9 years old, tried to be brave for the others. He whispered, "My dad said Earth will find us. They'll come." The older kids nodded, but fear still filled their eyes. None of them had seen these aliens before. They had horns, gray skin, and smelled like burning metal. They didn't speak in a language the kids could understand, but they kept scanning the children, measuring them like lab animals. One alien looked at Leo longer than the others. It placed a metal device on his arm. Leo winced. Whatever the Empire wanted, it wasn't good. But far away, beyond the stars, Earth's response was already moving. Black ships rose from hidden bases under Mars and Titan. Deathworlders, hardened by Earth's harshest environments, put on armor and loaded their weapons. Every one of them had seen the footage, and every one of them wanted vengeance. The fleet awakens. The skies above Earth darkened not from clouds, but from the launch of the Black Dagger fleet. These were not ordinary warships. They were the product of Earth's darkest labs and harshest training grounds. Their armor was made from titanium weave plating pulled from asteroid cores. Their weapons could cut through a battleship in one shot, and the soldiers aboard? They were Earth's elite, trained in gravity storms, toxic worlds, and void survival. Each ship bore a single word on its hull: justice. Commander Ray stood on the bridge of the lead ship, Stormcaller. His voice echoed across the fleet channel. "We do not come for peace. We come for our children. You will leave none behind." On Mars, the repair bays were empty. Every ship had launched. On Earth, parents watched from screens, holding hands and wiping tears. They didn't need speeches. The message was clear. Earth will not forgive. Earth will not forget. Far across the galaxy, The captured children were transported to a prison world called Galactic. The Empire believed it was untraceable, hidden, safe, but Earth had spies. Long ago, a synthetic agent had slipped into the Empire's data systems. It had stayed quiet, waiting. When the children were taken, the agent activated. Within hours, Earth knew exactly where the kids were. Ray smiled when the coordinates lit. Up on his screen. Plot a direct path. No stealth, no cloak. Let them see us coming. The Empire, at first, laughed. The Grand Speaker of the High Council raised a hand and dismissed the report. Earth, they will send diplomats. A few protest. Ships at best. But when the sensors picked up the Black Dagger fleet, the laughter stopped. These ships, they're war class. All of them. A frightened officer reported, and they're not slowing down. On Delic V, one of the older children, Ella, held a sharp piece of scrap she'd hidden in her clothing. She was only 11, but her eyes were sharp. She had counted every guard rotation, mapped the hallway from memory, and whispered plans to the other kids at night. She wasn't planning to wait for rescue, but just before her, small rebellion began. The walls shook. Boom. Another boom. Screams filled the facility, not from the children, but from the alien guards. One boy peeked through a vent. There's fire in the sky. Outside, the Black Dagger fleet had arrived. The Stormcaller broke atmosphere first, leading a formation of 20 warships. From their hulls came silver pods drop units containing Earth's elite soldiers. The first squad to land was Unit Echo 9. Their leader, a tall woman named Mira, scanned the prison compound and growled into her helmet. Find every child. Burn the rest. In a control room buried deep in the Empire's tower, the Warden General screamed into a transmitter. Do not let them breach the gates. Kill the children if you have to do, not let them live. But he didn't know that Earth had already cracked the main gate using seismic weapons. The soldiers poured in like a storm. One guard raised his rifle toward a group of hiding children. But before he could fire, a red beam cut through the wall and struck him down. A human soldier stepped in front of the children, armor glowing in the firelight. You're safe now. Let's go. Leo stared in awe. You came. The soldier looked down and nodded. Always. Fire and rescue smoke rose from the broken towers of Delic V as Earth's forces swept through the compound. The Empire's soldiers tried to regroup, but they were no match for the Deathworlders' humans, trained in the harshest places, with minds sharper than blades and hearts full of fury. Myra's squad moved quickly through the corridors, their suits scanned for life signs, looking for children. Behind every sealed door, every reinforced wall, could be a trap or a scared child. Rune 9 is holding 6 life signs, said one of her troopers. Myra didn't wait. She raised her arm and a sonic charge burst open the door. Inside, 6 kids huddled together, their eyes wide with fear. One boy flinched, thinking it was another guard. But Mara knelt, removed her helmet, and gave them a small smile. We're from Earth. You're going home. One little girl burst into tears. Another ran straight into Myra's arms. Outside, other squads were having similar success, ripping through enemy lines, opening cell after cell. Word spread fast among the kids. The humans are here. The humans came. In the sky above, Empire fleets scrambled to respond. Dozens of ships formed a blockade, hoping to trap Earth's fleet on the ground. They believed their numbers would overwhelm the smaller Black Dagger force. They were wrong. The Stormcaller and her sister ships had trained for this exact moment. Their weaponry was precise, brutal, and overwhelming. The Empire's first cruiser fired a plasma barrage. Never got to fire a second time. 3 railgun shots from the Ravager tore through its core, splitting it in half. Debris scattered across. The atmosphere. The Empire's second ship tried to escape. It didn't get far before it was caught in Earth's gravnet and pulled into a barrage of missiles. Within minutes, the blockade turned into wreckage. Back on the ground, Mira's squad met up with Echo 7, who had retrieved 12 more children. Including Leo, and Ella. Leo was holding hands with a younger kid and guiding him forward, even though his own legs shook. Myra noticed. She tapped his shoulder gently. "You're brave, kid." Leo nodded, still trying to be strong. "I had to. I told them Earth would come. I knew you would." A loud explosion rocked the hallway. Behind them, a final group of alien guards tried to make a last stand. But this time, Mira didn't flinch. She activated her pulse cannon and fired. Walls shattered, and the guards fell one after another, stunned or dead. No more threats. She turned back to the kids. "Let's go." Extraction's waiting. Outside, Earth's dropships hovered low over the burning buildings. The children were rushed inside, one group after another. Medical bots scanned them for injuries, and calm voices repeated the same phrase. "You're safe. You're going home." As Leo stepped into the ship, he looked back at the smoking compound. He could still hear distant fighting, but he knew the tide had turned. Ella stepped up beside him. "We survived." Leo gave a small smile, because Earth fights back. Back aboard the Stormcaller, Commander Ray watched the feeds. The data showed nearly all children rescued, over 90% of the compound neutralized, and the Empire's ships retreating in chaos. But his face didn't show relief. He turned to his officers. "Get me their homeworld's coordinates." "We're not done yet." The message Earth sent the dropships flew silently through the stars, carrying the rescued children to safety. Inside, the mood was quiet. Some kids slept. Others held hands or stared out the windows at the stars, waiting to wake up from the nightmare. But it wasn't a dream. Leo sat near the front, wrapped in a thermal blanket. A medical bot checked his vitals and offered warm water. He didn't speak much. His eyes were focused on something far away, something the Empire took that could never fully be returned. Mira knelt beside him. "You did well," she said softly. Leo looked up. "Is Earth safe?" Myra nodded. "Always, and now so are you." She didn't tell him the full truth, because back on the Stormcaller, Commander Ray was preparing the second phase. While most of Earth's fleet escorted the children back to secure space, 3 warships stayed behind. Their target, Val Karaz, the Empire's outer military command post. It was heavily armed. Defended, monitored by hundreds of sensor drones. Earth's ships didn't hide. They entered the system broadcasting one thing: "You took our children. Now feel our fire." Val Karaz reacted instantly. Fighters launched. Defense cannons powered up. Ray stood on the bridge of the Stormcaller, expression hard as steel. "Release the strike." From deep inside Earth's flagship, a missile silo opened. The weapon launched into space, silent, invisible, cloaked in dark matter. The Empire never saw it coming. When it hit the command center, the core collapsed inward. The explosion wasn't just loud, it was devastating. The station folded on itself, then ripped apart in a sphere of light. Hundreds of Empire officers, soldiers, and architects of the kidnapping vanished in an instant. And just like that, Val Karaz no longer existed. Back on Earth, the rescue was broadcast everywhere. Footage of children being carried to safety filled the global network. Parents cried. Soldiers saluted. People around the world stood up and clapped when they saw Myra guiding the last group of kids onto the ship. The message was spreading across the galaxy fast. Earth answers threats with fire. In a hidden room deep inside the Empire's palace, the High Command met in silence. A thick cloud of fear hung in the air. They destroyed Valkaras, whispered one general. They sent no ambassador, said another. They didn't ask for negotiation. A third one slammed his fist on the table. Because they don't. Need to. We touched their blood. And now we bleed. The Emperor stood slowly. Prepare our fleets. And pray they do not come to our homeworld. Aboard the Stormcaller, Ray reviewed the list of enemy officials who had signed off on the kidnapping. Plan. His eyes burned with focus. We're not done, he muttered. Not until every name on this list is crossed off. Meanwhile, the children were taken to a recovery center on Luna Base. Clean beds, warm food, quiet music. Nurses moved softly. Through the halls, offering comfort, Leo and Ella shared a quiet room. Neither spoke much, but that night, as Leo stared at the ceiling, he whispered, "They took us. They thought no one would care." Ella turned to him. They were wrong. Asterisk names on the list the Black Dagger fleet did not return home, while Earth celebrated the safe return of the children. Commander Ray and his warships began the next mission. A list, not just any list, classified record of every Empire official involved in the abduction. Generals, scientists, governors, and transport commanders. Some had given orders. Some had remained silent. Earth saw no difference. Ray stood at the center of the command chamber aboard the Stormcaller. The lights dimmed as each target's image appeared. On the main screen, an alien face, a location, a code name. He pointed to the first name, Commander Volrek. High Orbit Station Lyric Belt. He ordered the scans. Start with him. The Ravager jumped into the Lurak system without warning. The Empire had grown used to smaller wars raids, border disputes. Not the cold, methodical precision of a Deathworld Retribution force. The Stormcaller stayed hidden. Only the Ravager approached. Pretending to be a broken supply vessel. The station hailed them. State your cargo. The response came in a calm, human voice. Justice. A moment later, a shock pulse cut through the station's power grid. Lights failed. Defenses shut down. A breaching team entered silently, armor glowing under flickering hallway lights. They moved like ghosts. Commander. Volrek barely had time to open his eyes before they reached him. He raised his hand, begging. It was a mistake. I followed orders. He was stunned mid-sentence. One of the Earth soldiers attached a small beacon to his uniform. Seconds later, Volrek was extracted. No trial. No argument. Just silence and removal. Back on Luna Base, Leo walked through the town. Recovery garden. He still had bruises, but color was returning to his face. He paused by a window that showed Earth in full view. A nurse approached. You should rest, she said kindly. Leo shook his head. I feel better. Nearby, Ella was speaking with a woman from Earth's education course. She wanted to return to school to normal. But the woman smiled gently. You're more than just a student now. You're part of history. The news spread across the stars. One by one, those responsible for the kidnappings disappeared. Some were taken. Some were erased. Some ran, but none hid long. Every time Earth struck, it was clean, fast, and final. The Empire began holding emergency sessions. Some high lords demanded war. Others begged for peace. One frightened admiral shouted across the forum, Do you understand what they've done? We didn't take soldiers. We took children. And now they're treating us like we're nothing. An ambassador leaned forward, slowly, and whispered, To them. We are. Ray received updates from every strike unit. 8 names were already marked complete. Only 3 remained. He tapped one photo, an old alien scientist who had overseen the memory scans of the children. Next target, Ray said. He didn't smile. He didn't blink. We're not done until every child sleeps without fear. In space, Earth's warships continued their silent mission, not for conquest, not for glory, but for something far older and deeper: protection for every innocent life and vengeance for every stolen one. Asterisk. The last three, the stars around the last Empire outpost, shimmered faintly, hiding behind the dusty rings of a cold gas giant. A lone station floated in the void, small, unassuming, and far from any major trade route. The Empire believed it was. Hidden, well-dotted, WASN, single quotes T. Commander Ray stood before the final three names on the list. Director Haven, who funded the operation; Marshal Doran, who provided security; and Dr. Viren, the one who ran the experiments on the captured children. These three weren't soldiers, they were planners, thinkers, cold calculators who believed human lives were numbers, disposable, replaceable. They were wrong. A Stormcaller warped into position without alert. It didn't send warnings or requests for surrender. The fleet had one purpose now: erase the last pieces of the operation. Ray's voice was calm as he gave the order. Deploy the strike pods. Keep it silent. No broadcasts. No mercy. The pods launched like streaks of silver rain. They didn't explode. They landed inside the outpost. Dr. Viren walked the sterile halls with a datapad in hand. His white coat swept across the floor. He had just received a transmission. The Empire's command had finally admitted Earth's fleet was real. That this Deathworld Justice Force wasn't a rumor got too late. Alarms blared as airlocks were breached. Viren looked up, frozen. From the smoke came 5 dark-armored figures, weapons drawn. He dropped the datapad. I was only studying them. I didn't harm them myself. He pleaded. But the team said nothing. A small sphere was tossed at his feet. It unfolded, scanning him. Confirmed. His name lit up in red. Target marked, said one soldier. Viren disappeared in a flash of blue. Light instantly transported to an underground cell back on Earth. No trial. No audience. Earth had no use for speeches anymore. Meanwhile, Marshal Doran tried to flee. He boarded a private ship and launched toward a nearby moon. It didn't matter. The Ravager had already locked on. One precision missile ended his escape before he broke orbit. No one on the moon even looked up. It was over before it began. The last one, Director Haven, was found in a glass tower overlooking a glacier sea on the frozen world of my RETH. He had power. Money. Security. Drones. But nothing stopped Myra's team from walking straight through. When she entered the tower, Haven poured himself a drink, pretending to be calm. You think this makes you heroes? He said. You're barbarians. You could have spoken. Signed treaties. Mira didn't blink. She took out a photo, a still shot from the prison world, showing children huddled in a dark cell. She placed it on his desk. You didn't give them treaties. And then she raised her pulse pistol. One shot. Clean. Final. Back on Luna Base. Leo stared out the window again, this time calmer. The nightmares were fewer now. The scars still existed, but they were healing. Ella walked over and handed him a tablet. It's from Earth's commander. She said. Leo, read the message on screen. To the brave survivors, you were the reason we answered. You were the reason we fought. And you will be the reason no one dares again. Leo didn't say a word. He didn't have to. For the first time in weeks, he smiled. Never again months had passed since the last strike. The stars were quieter now. The Empire, once proud and sprawling, had gone silent. Entire sectors shut down communication, fearing Earth's gaze. Trade routes were closed. Councils fractured. The whispers across the galaxy all asked the same thing. What happens if Earth is wronged again? On Earth, A new memorial stood, tall in the heart of Unity Square. It wasn't made of gold or stone, it was a garden, a quiet place. At its center, a metal ring stood engraved with the names of the 27 children taken. Below the names, a simple line: "You are not forgotten. You never will be." Leo stood there, holding a small flower. He didn't say anything. He didn't need to. Behind him, people from across the planet gathered, families, soldiers, even children from other colonies. They came not just to mourn, but to remember, to promise dot far above Earth. The Stormcaller remained in orbit, that it didn't return to base, that it didn't power down, because Earth knew peace didn't last forever. Not in the stars. Commander Ray stood at the viewing deck, looking down at the blue planet below. A younger officer approached him. "Sir, the mission is complete. The Empire's operations are over. Orders?" Ray didn't look away from the stars. He answered slowly, "We don't stand down. We stay ready." He turned to the officer. "They took our children once. The galaxy will remember why they never will again." In deep space, word of Earth's fury continued to spread. Some races feared humans now. Some respected them. Others began to see them as the guardians of the forgotten, the shield of the innocent, and the vengeful fire of justice. The Deathworlders weren't conquerors. They were the line. Back on Luna Base, Ella finished writing her journal, something her therapist had recommended. She looked at Leo across the room and gave him a smile. "We lived," she said. Leo nodded. "And they learned." He looked up at the stars. "If they ever try again, Earth will burn their skies." In every corner of the galaxy, from the every corner of the galaxy, smallest station to the most distant empire, the same word spread: never harm Earth's children, because Earth does not forgive, and Earth always answers with fire. Asterisk.